Here I stand, light-footed at the edge of the world, unchained, untethered. The soles of my feet barely touching the ground. Gravity's becoming cloudy now. Nothing is holding me back anymore. In truth, only one thing would. It always was and is and will always be my choice alone that ever could. For what I choose to surround will either free or bound, and the choice for either one is within me found. Here I stand now, light-footed, the very edge of the world. I'm unchained, untethered, the tip of my toes barely touching the ground. Gravity is losing me now. One by one, they all fell away, everyone and everything. During those times I felt my life was a joke, all areas just more suffering. My hands were burning and my feet were on fire, 'cause of what and who I held and where I long stood. But as I breathed my last sigh, raised my gaze to the sky, I ascend now within to my good. Here I am now, lighthearted, no longer part of the world. I'm reclaimed, reconnected. The sight of the ground can no longer be found. Gravity has no claim on me. Gravity,
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Good to see you all. Welcome into the chat. I see George is here, Casey is here, Jay is here. Appreciate you all coming in so early. We already have about a dozen people viewing or listening in. Just waiting for the game to get kicked off here so I can give you the starting lineups and some information. Today's a big game. Last possible one for this series. Game 7. This is it for somebody. One team is going home. One team is going home. Yeah, Jay, you mentioned 1,400 subs. Yeah, it was really nice the past few days. I don't know why, but after the first few games, I think, after game 3, views were not really that high. It took quite a bit of effort to get the views up to about 80 or so. They never got over 100. But game 4 just kind of blew up. It went up to almost 8,000 views. Got a lot more likes. Actually got 40 subscribers that day, just in that one live stream. 40 subscribers. I've never had that happen before. It'd be nice to be hitting 50 to 100 subscribers a day. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? But for some reason, YouTube started sharing my content with a lot more people. and they just started coming in like crazy. But the other thing is that it continued pretty much, and it spilled over into Game 5 and Game 6. I had over 5,000 views in Game 5. Game 6 got up to over 7,000 also. And in total, I wound up with nearly 100 subscribers, or about 100 subscribers or so, just in 3 games, within 3 games. But the thing is that it was a transitionary time when I was just doing Astros content. More and more people were finding me, but they were either they're primarily people looking for Astros content, which is understandable. But YouTube has to learn what you're doing. It has to learn about your channel and what your focus is first, and then once it feels like it knows what your channel is about, it starts lightly suggesting it here and there to people. And if that goes well, it'll keep suggesting. And once it gets to a certain point where it realizes that, hey, you're consistent, you're consistently doing uploads or live streams or whatever, and people are engaging and people are watching your videos for long periods of time, and they're liking and they're donating, et cetera, then they'll start showing you, they'll kind of open the floodgates a little wider and a little wider and a little wider. So the only thing that keeps my channel from really blowing up doesn't have anything to do with my scoreboard or my content or anything like that, because all of those things are just fine. My coverage is pretty unique. I've taken ideas from many different people and kind of compiled all of the elements that I would like to see as a viewer. That's basically how I do things here. It doesn't always appear exactly as I would like for it to appear, because it takes time to build those things out with the coding. So the layout and the style and things like that, I can visualize it and I can talk to the AI about it, and I can continue to improve it over time. But as it stands, it's moving in the right direction. So anyway, so it's not so much about the content and the style that directly influences the opening up, I guess you could say, of YouTube to bring in more people. Oh, your eyes are not playing tricks on you. If you can see, I can button it up even more. There you go. Actually, let me pull my hood over just so you'll see. There you go. It is not an eye trick. It's not your mind playing tricks on you, Jay. JD, hello to you. Are we hitting up the Texans Seahawks game? Yes, we are, sir. It's scheduled, and I will be jumping over to that game whenever it comes on. Prior to kickoff, I plan to jump over there. Let me show you. I've already got it pulled up on the screen, ready to go. It's right there. See it? So have no fear. Have no fear, my son. But anyway, this jacket I designed while I was in China. I had it made. I had several others made too, several colors, maybe about 12 colors. Now, the unique thing about these jackets is that you can actually take them apart. You can disconnect this half from this half, and then you can get a different color. So you can put different colors together. So all of the jackets are the exact same size for me. They're the same size for me, and they're 12 different colors, so I can mix and match the colors. So I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks, JD. Like I said, I imagined this jacket when I was in China, and a friend of mine had an uncle who owned a factory, clothing factory, and I went down there to talk to him and showed him my design, and we worked out how to make it, and they made it for me. And they actually made a bunch of them in about 12 different colors. This is what I call my favorite Astros color. And I've got my Astros hat on and my jacket today. But I remember after the Astros won their first World Series, um, I had this jacket and I wore it in Seattle at that time. I went to visit a friend in Seattle, and I had my Astros hat on and this jacket here. And somebody complimented me on the jacket and told me that the Astros were a really strong team that year. So that was nice. Let's see here. Where's the game preview? I'm trying to make some changes. For those of you who are wondering what's going on, still on a commercial break right now, waiting for the game to start. Hey, there we go. Game 7. Just now starting. Where is the screen capture? There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Copy. And paste. There we go. There we go. All right, now we can get caught up. I was making some adjustments, so I apologize for the delay there. All right. She says, haven't watched Monday Night Football in a long time. Missed the old intro song. Yeah, I missed the really old one. Dun, 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 bum, bum, bum. Dun, 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 bum, 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 bum. You guys remember the really old Monday Night Football music? All right. We're ready to get this party going. Just like that. They don't give me much pregame. Here's the first pitch. Game 7, 92, a little low and outside. Shane Bieber is on the mound for the Blue Jays, facing Julio Rodriguez. Rodriguez grounds it fair down the third base line. He's going to start it off with a double. It's into the corner. On the second pitch, Rodriguez is fired up. think he might have thrown that one a little too high. Came down right in the zone. Runner on second. These commentators are really annoying. Mariner on second. The Mariners must score in the first inning. No, they must not. They can, but they must not. You can't say that they must score. Cal Raleigh at the plate. That pitch is outside. 1-0. Rodriguez on second base. No outs here in the top of the first. I appreciate it, Marduk. How about the update? Still trying to work out some of the kinks. 85 miles an hour. Swing and a miss. 1-1 to Raleigh. Where's my field? They throw it over to second base. Julio goes back. 1-1 is the count. Shane Bieber dealing to Cal Raleigh. Here's a pitch. Going to be ground out down to first base. Okay, I think Guerrero went a little too slow there. It went foul. I think that if maybe Guerrero had hustled down the line, he would have been able to get that in foul territory and get the out. But he picks it up in foul territory after it goes past the line. And that'll be strike 2 on Raleigh. One ball, 2 strikes. Here's the toss. Low and outside on the knuckle curve. Ball 2. The count's even. Bieber looks around at Rodriguez. Now here comes the delivery. Low and inside in the dirt. Will count. Yeah, Toonami, it's right on the screen. Right in the middle of the bottom of the screen. Rodriguez is on second base with a double. Here's a 3-2 pitch. Line drive ripped down the line, but foul. Count remains full on Raleigh. Oh, I see. I see. There's a 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Raleigh goes down swinging on the 3-2 pitch. Up and in. Raleigh tried to pull it in. Just couldn't get the bat on it. Probably would have broke his bat if he had. Josh Naylor at the plate takes that first pitch a little high. 4-1. 1 on second. Rodriguez. Bieber comes off the mound, fakes a throw to second. Naylor fouls it down the first baseline. If you'll give me a moment, I'm trying to get a couple of things straightened out here. There we go. I think that's better. Okay, there we go. For some reason, with this new layout, crazy looking shoes. I don't mind the bright shoes, but when they don't match the uniform, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Here comes a 1-1 pitch to Naylor outside, 2-1. I got my baseball field at the bottom of the center of the screen. Bottom middle, I guess you could say. '89 above the zone. 3-1 to Naylor. Rodriguez on second, 1 out. Here's a pitch. Ground ball through on the right side. That should score Rodriguez. Here's the throw. They go all the way home, but the throw is not there in time. Rodriguez scores. It's 1-0 Seattle, but that single through the hole on the right side. Josh Naylor with not a leadoff hit, but his first hit and an RBI. Guerrero just couldn't quite get to it between the first base and second baseman. '93 right in the top of the zone. The next batter is Jorge Polanco. JD wants to know which of these two remaining teams matches up best against the draft Dodgers. I think it's definitely the Blue Jays, but once again, like I've said before, if the Mariners are hitting really well, they can score a lot of runs. But if they can't hit the long ball, they don't seem to do very well scoring runs. So they're kind of either all on or all off. Just a tad outside. 2-1 is the count to Polanco. I feel like the Blue Jays are a better balanced team. They have power for homers, but they also score off of singles, doubles, triples, walks, etc. You know, they're not so one-sided as the Mariners. So the Blue Jays, the Dodgers, if they're able to lock down the Mariners on the long ball, they can pretty much keep them from scoring too many runs. That's a strike right in there on the curve. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Polanco. Oh, that was actually a changeup on the outside edge. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. Crowd's on their feet wanting a strikeout. Long delay. Too long. In the dirt. All of that delay for a ball in the dirt. It's full count. Lyle says, hi for North Texas. Go Mariners. That's strange for a person from North Texas to say. But, okay. Welcome in. Thanks for being here. Got about 56 viewers. Welcome in. Make sure you put a like on the live stream. I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. Pickoff move to first base. Naylor is back. They almost got him. See those? I kind of feel like in some ways baseball has become a joke when I see them wearing all these crazy different. Oh, this might be an unassisted double play. Oh, the ball hits the runner. The ball hits Naylor. Did you see that? That should have been a double play. Now the coach is coming straight out to talk. Look at this. Clement grabs it, steps on second, and he goes to throw it, and Naylor jumps in the line. Look at this. Naylor jumps in the line. Look at this. He jumped and got hit. Naylor jumps into the throw, and the ball hits him in the back of the helmet. Is that allowed? Yeah, they're discussing it now because the coach came out and said, "Hey, he jumped into the ball. You can't just jump into the ball like that." Yeah, I don't think that's allowed. The whole crew is talking about this. They got all 6 guys chatting it up to make sure that they get this call right. If this were a regular season game, it would have been made already. They would have had one guy make the call. I see what Josh Naylor's trying to do, but that was some BS right there. Should have been an unassisted double play. I understand that you don't have to get down, you don't have to slide, you don't have to get out of the way, but jumping up into the path of the ball, jumping up like that, look at that. Let's see what they call. They finally break it up. They're going to say they're both out. They haven't made an announcement, but they point to both and say they're out. So Naylor costs them what should have been a double play anyway, but Naylor jumping up into the path of the ball, they decide that that's an illegal maneuver, which I thought it would be, and that's a double play. So it's 1-0. First, top of the first is over. So this game apparently is going to be interesting also. 2 hits, a double and a single. J-Rod gets the double on the second pitch of the game. Raleigh strikes out. Naylor hits a single to right field, scores a run. And then on a double play, Naylor jumps up into the ball on purpose, blocking the throw to first base. Umpires call them both out. So the double play shuts the inning down. It is what it is. George Kirby. Let's see here. Oh, Marduk. I forgot you said, did I guess the starting pitchers correctly? I see Bieber. It's Bieber and Kirby. Paige says, "Go Jays." I've been a Blue Jays fan since they first hit the field. Those days we had the Toronto Blue Jays and the Montreal Expos. I was thinking of Joe Carter today. You know, when I was a kid, even though I was an Astros fan, I actually did like a couple of other teams, primarily because of colors. You know, when I was really little, I liked because of their style and their colors and stuff. And I also thought the Expos was kind of a cool name. So I actually liked the Expos. And it's unfortunate that they do not exist as the Montreal Expos anymore. That's sad. But yeah, good luck to the Blue Jays today. I will say this. I'll be honest with all of you. Ever since the cheering of George Springer getting hit and then the booing when he got up, ever since then, I have decided that, yeah, absolutely, I want the Blue Jays to win this series. Classless fans in Seattle don't deserve to go their team to go to the World Series, in my opinion. Blue Jays more deserving to go. Georgie Porgy's on the mound. He's had 3 starts in the postseason, 0-1 with an ERA over 7. So Kirby has not had good luck at all. He's had the opposite. He's had nothing but bad luck in the postseason. Let's see if the Blue Jays can Continue to light him up. Arctic says, go Jays. JD says, I think the draft Dodgers smoke both these teams. I don't know about that. I think that's a little extreme. George Springer at the plate. Let's see how he's getting around today. Here comes the first pitch. Whoa. Man, I almost hit him again. He's like, it's okay. I'm all right. The crowd boos heavily. 2 homers, 4 RBIs this postseason. Batting .233. He's batting actually a little better in this series, though. Here's the pitch. Up and in again. 298 mile per hour fastballs up and in. He had to pull back out of the way. Yeah. Here comes the 2-0 pitch. 97 in the top of the zone. Fouls it off. 2-1. Page says 1993 Joe Carter hit a walk-off home run to win the World Series for the Jays, their second consecutive championship. He's only one of 2 players in the World Series with a homer. I remember Joe Carter. Fouled off again, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Sweet Richard says, let's go Texans. Jay wants to know if I'm allowed to show complete replays. Well, yes, but there's a caveat. Jay, because here's the truth. The truth is I can show as much as I want. Okay, but there are different repercussions for each different choice I make. 3-2 pitch, you walked him. So Springer has a nice bat to start off. Fouls off a couple of strikes. Takes the other pitches out of the zone. Draws a walk. We have a leadoff runner on for the Blue Jays in the bottom of the first. That'll bring up Nathan Lucas to the plate. If I put clips that are more than a few seconds long, then there's a high chance that they make a copyright claim. And then later on, after I finish the broadcast, I'll have to go back and edit that out. I'll have to cut it out. And sometimes they make a lot of claims. They'll make like 12 different claims. I have to cut out like 12 different clips. So running a clip more than 3 or 4 seconds can mean that I have to edit it later. 99 right in there. Strike 1. 1-1 to Lucas. But if I do an even longer clip, like a full replay, let's say it takes 12 seconds, a really long replay. If I do that often, they can actually pull my live stream down. So I would not do that. So the answer to your question is yes, I can do whatever I want. But that doesn't mean that I'll necessarily get away with it. Fly ball to left field. Rosarena's able to put it away, and Springer goes back to first base. 1 away. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. comes to the plate. I wish there would have been a Springer dinger, but a walk is still something that can benefit, especially people like Vladdy at the plate. Lyle says, I moved here from Seattle 4 years ago. That's why Mariners and Seahawks fan. Ah, okay. Here's a pitch. 99 up and in. I thought you said you were from North Texas. 98 in the bottom of the zone. Strike 2. 98 miles an hour. It's 0-2 to Guerrero with 1 out. Springer on first. If you say you're from North Texas, I think that's where you're from. Like literally from there. That's right through the left side. That's a hit for Guerrero. Springer moves to second base. Mr. Junior gets on first. Runners on first and second now with a walk and a single. That's the first hit of the game for the Blue Jays. That was right across the upper thigh, right in the middle of the plate. Can't throw something like that to Guerrero, I think. Alejandro Captain Kirk at the plate. It's the catcher shaped like a basketball. Batting .220 in the postseason. 777 OPS. Here comes the first pitch from Kirby. Low and outside, bounces away. But Raleigh's able to keep it close by. Springer can't advance. It's going to have to be a really bad pitch and get far away from Raleigh for Springer to be able to go on that knee. Got about 69 viewers right now. Thanks for being here. Do remember to like the live stream. It has really been helping out the past few days. Games 4, 5, and 6 came out really, really nice in the way of views and new subscribers. Little meeting on the mound right now, and the umpire just broke it up and said, let's get back to the game. Get, boys, you get. Get off my lawn. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, Sanha from Texas. That makes sense to me. How did you transplant to Japan? Oh, that's a good question. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Just a little low to Kirk, and that's 2-0. 2 runners on, 1 out. 2-0 count to Kirk. Long story short, Lyle, I got married too young to a woman that I should have never been involved with, and it all went south. 98 low in the zone, barely gets the strike call there. It's 2-1. And like I said, the long story short is that all of that went bad. And then later on, I decided, you know what? I kind of want to leave. Not just Louisiana. Kind of want to leave the U.S. because I didn't know where else to go. And I really wanted to see Japan. 3 balls and 1 strike to Kirk. I went to work and live in China for almost 7 years first, though, because I had a friend there. Outside edge. He thought it was a ball, but that was a strike. 98 right on the edge. The umpire and Kirk were talking after that one. But it was a strike. I mean, it just barely. Yeah, just barely. In Japanese, we say giri giri, like by the skin of the teeth. Here's a 3-2 pitch. Right in the zone. He hits it high in the air. Is it going to be playable? Naylor goes over there, but it sails into the crowd, so he'll have another pitch. I feel a bases loaded walk coming on for Varsho. But anyway, while I was in China, I traveled to Japan a lot. And it confirmed my desire to be here. And I permanently moved here over 5.5 years ago. And here I've been. That's the short version. Here's a 3-2 pitch. Fouls it off again. 98 on the outside edge. Didn't let that one go. That's right, Shake. Still very early. First inning. Doesn't get much earlier than that. Bottom of the first. Another full count pitch on the way from Mr. George Kirby. Ah, he misses. Foul tip into the glove of Raleigh on the 98-mile-per-hour pitch, right in the top of the zone. Should have been getting the bat on it. And he could only nick it, just barely. Captain Kirk's Captain's Log started October 20th, 2025. I seem to have struck out. 2 down. 2 on. Don't waste these lobsters. Bring them home. Dalton Varsho, the lefty, at the plate. Half swing. Slider low and inside. That was a terrible half swing. The crowd is completely silent right now. They're all standing up, but looking around like, what do we do? Here comes the 0-1 pitch. And grounds that one up the middle. It's going to get through, and that'll score a run. How about that? Springer scores from second base. And now runners on the corners for the Blue Jays. They've tied it up on that single. Hey, my animation works. Yosh. The crowd goes crazy in Toronto. That just barely got through. Another giddy moment. That was like that other hit that Naylor hit up the middle that scored. Rodriguez just barely passed the glove of Guerrero Jr., but this one scores Springer and sends Guerrero over to third base. And now Ernie Clement comes to the plate. The crowd is getting more into it now. 98 on the outside edge. Swing and a miss, strike one. This game is completely evened up right now. Two hits for each team, 1 run for each team. Here comes the 0-1. Ooh, I'm surprised he got the bat on that one. The knuckle curve right in the dirt. He fouls it off. Counts 0-2. Sydney asked, do you attend Japanese baseball, or what is the standard like nowadays? Well, right now they've got what's called the Climax series going on. It's kind of part of the playoffs, postseason. That's hit hard to center field. It's going to be contained. Ooh, the crowd went a little crazy there. They thought that might be gone, but it floats down right at the edge of the warning track. But this game is tied up. That walk by Springer pays off as he's driven in by Varsho. At the end of 1, it's tied up at 1.
How do you like them apples? Would you like to grab the orchard ladder and climb up to that tree and pick one of them? I believe those apples are ripe and juicy.
But yeah, basically, Sydney, the local team here, I'm in Hiroshima, so the local team is the Hiroshima Carp. Now, the Carp had a very similar season this year to the one they had last year. They started off really good. They were in the top 2 in the entire nation. It was like, holy cow, the first half of the season, they're going to do it. They're going to go to the playoffs easily. They were looking a lot like the Astros, actually. The Astros handily ahead of the division, like by 10 games, right? 10 games in front of the second place team. It seemed like, they'd have to really botch it. They'd have to really screw it up in order to not get into the playoffs. Well, that's exactly what happened, is that they didn't get into the playoffs. Now, I wouldn't say that the Astros botched it. Some do. We're just going to have to beg to differ because the Astros had a lot of problems. And some of those problems are just not easily fixed. You can't just easily fix those things while you're in the middle of the season. And when you're getting into September and there's a playoff race and a divisional fight going on, it's not easy to make adjustments that are systemic problems. You know what I'm saying? So they were not able to get in. But the Carp, the Hiroshima Carp, the local team, they just started losing like crazy on the road. Now, their home record, you should have seen their home record, because at home they were almost undefeated. They lost almost no games at home, but they were struggling big time on the road. And then after the halfway point of the season, then they started losing a lot of games everywhere on the road and at home. Now, even though they missed the playoffs this year, they still wound up with a winning record at home. That's kind of crazy, is that if you look at their road record, it's terrible. And their home record is is so-so, but it's still more wins than losses at home. However, they missed the playoffs. They went from being second in the nation to being like, I don't know, 14th or 15th in the nation. So they dropped a lot. I've been to some games, but for a variety of reasons, but primarily it's just about, spending the money. I hope that things are better for me next year, health and financial wise, and I'll be able to go to a few games. It'd be nice. They're not expensive, really. Not much more expensive than going to see a movie. Rosarina at the plate takes a ball, a strike, and then that one is a ball, 2-1. Rosarina 0 for 10 with 6 strikeouts versus Bieber. Not Justin Bieber, Shane Bieber. I'm sure that he could hit Justin Bieber much better if Bieber could actually throw in the zone. Foul ball, 2-2. But as far as what is it like, I will say this. Japanese baseball is more traditional, in my opinion, the way they play it and the rules that they follow. Ground ball up the middle. Jimenez can't get to it. And that's going to be a hit for Rosarena. Leadoff man is on first. Another ground ball through the hole. That's 3 this game already. 3 of the 5 hits have been just past the glove. Man, he should have had that one. It was under his glove. He was able to actually get to that, but it went under his glove. I guess he was expecting for it to bounce up. Regardless, a man is on. Suarez at the plate. First pitch is high, ball 1. One and 0. Here's the toss. That's hit up the middle, and that'll be another base hit. Single right up the middle for Suarez. That's 4 hits now for the Mariners. Runners on first and second with no outs. But I will add this, Sydney, as far as the crowd is concerned in Japan, the things that they do during the game are so much different than in the U.S. It takes some getting used to. But as far as the game itself, I think it's more preferable because the rules are more traditional. There's a bunt right back to Bieber. He goes to first to get the out. Now runners are on second and third with 1 down. So Crawford bunts the runners over. 1 down with Leo Rivas coming to the plate. I think he had time to go to second base. I really do. I think he had time to go to second. Jimenez was over there. 92 in the upper outer corner, strike 1. Runners on second and third with Rivas at the plate. Jay says, any American ball players on the Hiroshima Carp? Right now, I don't think so. They did have a Dominican guy. Foul ball, strike 2. 30 pitches now for Bieber. Wow, 7 through 9 hitters for the Mariners are batting 113 in this series. That's the opposite of how the Astros 7 through 9 hitters played. No balls, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch to Rivas. Swing and a miss. Got him. Strike 3. Big out right there. Low and inside. A 3-pitch strikeout on Leo. Leo the lefty. Wow. Yeah, he missed that by a substantial sum. Oh, wow. That was about a 10-inch miss. Victor Robles at the plate. Here's the toss. That's a bouncer. Should be playable. It's back to Bieber. He throws it to first. No problem. Out number 3. How about that? Lobsters lost. Lobsters gained. Lobsters lost. After a couple of hits, and then bunting them in over with no outs, the Mariners come away with nothing. For some reason, the hits on the board did not update correctly. Now it's showing 4, not 5. 4 hits for the Mariners, 1 run after 2. It's going into the bottom of the second now. 2 hits for the Blue Jays, 1 run. We're tied at 1. Addison Barger will be the first batter up to face George Kirby, followed by Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and Andres Jimenez. Kirby has a 7.2 ERA right now. He's up to 25 pitches, 17 of those in the zone. 7.2 ERA. Bad luck in the postseason. Addison Barger batting .281 in the postseason with an .892 OPS and a couple of homers. A little bit of bang for the buck there. Let's see here. Take a look at the roster. I can pull up the Hiroshima Carp roster. I don't think they have any American players right now, but they did have a couple of guys who are basically from Dominican Republic. Johan Dominguez. Yeah, I don't think that Johan is an American player. From where? Where was he born? He sounds Dominican. Anyway. I don't know why it said pitching change. George Kirby's still on the mound. First pitch to Barger is below the zone for ball 1. That was an interesting animation. I saw pitching change come up on the screen. I guess it means from the Blue Jays pitcher to the Mariners pitcher. Next pitch on the way. That's in the zone. Slider or strike. 1-1 is the count to Barger. We're going to get the Barger barrage. Addison barrage. Here comes the pitch. That's ripped down the line. Just foul. Just foul. Still around 69 viewers right now. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you. We did get to 1,400 subscribers yesterday, so thank you so much for that. Much appreciated. Temperature has dropped a little bit recently. Much cooler outside. For those of you listening in who are from Canada, you'll understand when I say it's 14 degrees right now. 14 degrees Celsius. Low and outside. Ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Barger. Kirby gets the call he wants, goes into his windup. Here's the 2-2. Grounded up the middle. Should be an easy play for Crawford. Terrible throw to first, which he often makes, but it's scooped up by Naylor. Naylor's got to stay on his toes over there catching those balls because Crawford throws a lot in the dirt. I made this comment a while back. I think it was when the Astros and the Mariners were playing. I said something about Crawford. He made a bad throw, made an error. And I said, we can always count on Crawford to make an error and give the Astros something. And he said, actually, Crawford is very good on defense. What, really? Okay, so why is it whenever I see them play the Astros throughout the season, he often makes terrible throws? And in the series, it's been the same. He's made some bad throws and that have costed the Mariners. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. Falefa hits to the right side, but that's caught by Naylor. Naylor was playing the shift, and he catches that line drive for out number 2. He was just in the right spot. 2 down, nobody on. Looking like an easy inning so far for Kirby, unless somebody decides to plunk one over the fence. Right now, it's up to Andre Jimenez. Opposite field grounder, backhanded by Crawford, makes a long, bad throw to first base. Naylor fakes. Once again, Naylor's up to trickery. He runs towards the dugout like it was thrown away, but Jimenez does not fall for it. Look at that. The throw was terrible, right? But look at. And so it was a good catch, but as usual, just like I just said a moment ago, look how terrible the throw is. Naylor runs out there like it's a wild throw, but Springer's at the plate, 98 above the zone, ball 1. Springer walked his first plate appearance in the first inning, was able to score. Now he has the opportunity to drive in a couple of runs. 98 up and in. Fake steal by Jimenez, and he stays on first. "12 steals in 14 attempts. Here's a 2-0 pitch. This is grounded to third. Easy play for Suarez. Makes the throw to first, and Springer grounds out for out number 3. So they do get a guy on first, but nothing comes of it. 3 hits for the Blue Jays, 4 for the Mariners. The game is tied 1-1 after 2 innings. We go to the top of the third. Shane Bieber up to 32 pitches. He'll be on the mound in just a moment. Julio Rodriguez due up, followed by Cal Raleigh and Josh Naylor. It's the top of the lineup. Let's take a look at the pitcher comparison right quick. Kirby has given up 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk. He has 1 strikeout. Bieber has given up 4 hits, 1 run, no walks, 2 strikeouts. So basically, they're pretty much even right now. Almost identical. A little bit of a commercial break going on at the moment. I'm sure J-Rod is getting his bat ready. Getting ready to come to the plate. Yeah, I was right. Johan Dominguez playing for the Hiroshima Carp. He's from the Dominican Republic. I thought so. Taylor Hearn. He might be American. Taylor Hearn. Okay. Okay, so Taylor Hearn. There you go. So Sydney. No, I'm sorry, J. Taylor Hearn is an American player on the Hiroshima Carp roster. He is a pitcher. Born in Rose City, Texas. Drafted by the Nationals in 2015. He's played for a few different teams. The Rangers? No. Yeah, he played for the Rangers and the Royals. And now he's on the Carps roster. I don't know if he will be at the start of the 2026 season, but he's listed as being on their roster right now. So there's at least one American. Taylor Hearn. Let's see. Let's see if there are any others. Shun, Yuta, Sotaro, Kenya, Kaichi, Koya, Kazuki, Shogo, Hiroki, Taiga, Hayoto, Sebastian, Takutomi, Taiki, Shogo, Kanoto, Shoto. It looks like the rest of their players are Japanese. They do have a developmental squad, but I don't see. No, Roberto Nelson and Moises Ramirez. I do see an infielder and an outfielder. First pitch to Rodriguez is a strike, but it was up and in. He hits it off himself. Why are you hurting yourself? Ooh, yeah, that's right. Right off the top of his calf. Yeah, the staff and the coach checking with him. It seems like he's going to stay in. He's okay. If he's lucky, he just hit the meat. So Rodriguez has an 0-1 count. Shane Bieber back on the mound, up to 33 pitches. Swing and a miss. 88 miles an hour on the changeup inside. 0-2's the count. Here comes the pitch. Low and outside, did he go? They say he did not. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ooh, that was close. Close, but he didn't go. Here comes the next pitch. Low and outside again. This time he just takes it. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two balls and 2 strikes. Nobody on. Top of the third. Bounces that one to the third base side. Clement gets rid of it quickly, but I think they called it foul. Only player in MLB history with 110 homers and 110 steals in the first 4 seasons. Second player in history with 30 seasons, multiple 30 seasons, 24 years of age or younger. Two balls and 2 strikes. Grounds that one foul. Count stays 2-2. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. It's hit high to left center field, and that could be gone, and it is. That's a homer. Julio Rodriguez on a 2-2 count pitch smacks it out into left center field, and it's 2-1. The Mariners reclaim the lead. 423 feet, 109 miles per hour. That's the foul ball. That is not. Why are they showing the foul ball replay? Yeah, he just put it right over the center of the plate. Mistake by Bieber. That's the second time that he's made a mistake to the same batter, and he got a double and a homer off of it. Raleigh with a light bouncer over to the right side. Guerrero flips it to Bieber, and the big dumper is put out on one pitch. That's one down. Yeah, look at this pitch. Right down the middle. Batting practice ball. 2-1 the score. Josh Naylor comes to the plate, and the crowd is starting to boo Naylor. I can't blame them. Not heavy boos, but a little bit. Wow. He rips that one out into right field. Nice line drive, but Barger is able to float over and grab it for out number 2. So 2 pitches to Raleigh and Naylor and 2 outs. So after that long fight with Rodriguez and the homer, there's a tap out and a line out. Game 3 went over 7 to start. Tonight, 4 for 6. 5 hits by the Mariners so far. Polanco takes that first pitch as a ball. Here comes a 1-0 pitch. Low and inside in the dirt. That took up a lot of chalk. 2-0. Here's the next pitch. On the low inside corner. Strike 1. 2-1 is the count. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Polanco fouls that one. Inside change up. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I wonder where these guys are from, though. Moises Ramirez. Where's he from? Maybe another Dominican. Here's the pitch, the 2-2. High and outside, full count. Where was he born? Ecuador. So Moises Ramirez with the Hiroshima Carp, another foreign player. He's from Ecuador. So the Carp have a Dominican, an American, an Ecuadorian on the roster, and then Roberto Nelson. Roberto Nelson could also be a foreigner. We'll see. Well, in Japan standards, he is. That's a hit right up the middle. On the full count, Polanco hits it right up the middle past a diving Jimenez. And that is the 6th hit for the Mariners this game. Hey, Foxaback, good to see you. Good day to you as well. Suarez and Polanco have a love thing going on there, or at least Suarez thinks he does, or thinks they do. Rosarena at the plate, swing and a miss, 93, up outside corner. Up outside. That's one way to abbreviate. Up outside, Co. Up outside, Co. Up out, Co. 1-0 or 0-1 pitch rather from Bieber on the way. High. 1-1. Polanco on first base. Two outs. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here comes the toss to Rosarena. Right in there. Top of the zone. Strike 2. Nelson Roberto First place. Let's see where he's from. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here comes a pitch. In the dirt outside, 2-2. He's also from Dominican Republic. Okay, so right now on the Carps roster, there's 1 American, 1 Ecuadorian, and 2 Dominican Republicans. There you go. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch to Rosarena. Swing and a miss. Got him to chase outside and low in the dirt. So J-Rod is on fire today. He's got himself a double and a solo homer. He has scored both of the runs for the Mariners today. It's 2-1. 6 hits for the Mariners, 3 for the Blue Jays. We're going into the bottom of the third. Let's see if the Blue Jays can answer again. Who's due up for the Blue Jays? I guess we'll find out in just a moment. Jay says baseball stats be too specific sometimes, like he's the first player to hit a home run while wearing high socks and no batting gloves under 25 years old. Yeah. I seriously wouldn't doubt it to see like a stat that says he's the only player in MLB history to hit over 30 home runs in a season without ever wearing any batting gloves. You know? I remember a long time ago that Kyle Tucker used to not wear batting gloves, and then he finally started wearing them. I wonder what changed his mind. Using an aluminum bat with a wrapping is much different than using a wooden bat. That's for sure. There is a notable difference. The retard who keeps coming in here dropping his spam. Remove. 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 There we go. Bam. All right, we got a little commercial going right now, and when we'll be back, it'll be the bottom of the third. George Kirby back on the mound for the Mariners. He'll be facing Nathan Lucas. Lucas is at the plate as we speak. Here comes the first pitch. High and outside, ball 1. Lucas flew out in the first inning. He's batting .333 for the series. Here comes a pitch. 97 inside, ball 2. George Kirby is the first pitcher under 30 years old to lose games not only in the postseason, but also in his dreams. How would you know that stat? 2 balls and 1 strike. Lucas at the plate with nobody on, nobody out. Here's the pitch. Ooh, 97 right in there, swing and a miss. Nice big hack. Couldn't get the bat on it. Vladimir Guerrero on deck, followed by Alejandro Kirk in the hole. Here's the pitch. 87-mile-per-hour slider fouls it off. Count remains 2-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Guy in the background there chowing down. Oh, I think you might have missed it. Here comes the 2-2 pitch. 97 up and in, fouls it off. Why is it that whenever these fastballs are like way up and in or in the dirt or way outside or whatever, they foul them off, but whenever he throws them right in the zone, they miss them? Not quite sure exactly what's going on there. Here comes a 2-2. See what I mean? Now that was a slider, 88 miles an hour, but it was right in there, and he completely missed it. So 88 miles an hour, right in the middle of the plate, swing and a miss. 97 up and in, out of the zone, fouls it off. Explain that to me. I know somebody's probably going to say, well, of course, the other one has more break on it. It has more movement on it. Come on now, tell me something that I don't know. That's it out in a shallow right field. That's an easy play for Rivas. Easy play. That's right. It was an easy play. So when it's an easy play for Leo Rivas, what do you say? It's an easy play. PV, EV. 2 outs, nobody on for Captain Kirk, who swings and misses at the slider outside. Here comes the next pitch. 98 miles an hour, foul tip into the glove of Raleigh. Strike 2. That's how Kirk struck out his last at bat. There's a pitch. No one outside. 1-2 with 2 outs, nobody on. Captain Kirk currently is the last opportunity for the Blue Jays to retaliate in this inning. Line drive straight to Crawford, and that's out number 3. So the Blue Jays get nothing in the 3rd inning. 3 up and 3 down for Kirby. Kirby pulls out the vacuum and sucks up the nonsense. We are done with 3 innings of baseball. It's 2-1 Mariners. Mariners are currently 1 run away from the World Series. Shane Bieber up to 53 pitches. Let's see how he compares to Kirby. All right, so Kirby has, and Bieber, they both have 3 full innings pitched. George Kirby, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. Bieber, 6 hits, 2 runs, 3 strikeouts, no walks, 1 homer. So Kirby currently winning the battle. Currently winning the war, I guess you could say. He's won 2, I guess you could say, out of the first 3 innings, if you want to call each inning a battle. He has won 1 battle, and they've tied the other 2. So he is barely winning the war at the moment. Not quite sure why the chat is not updating. That's strange. The chat was not updating on the YouTube channel. I had to refresh the screen. That's ridiculous. I'm just now seeing the comments there. Sydney says, Bloody Lucas, why leave a player as cold as Chili Molson in the number 2 slot? Yeah, Lucas was doing pretty well, and then he got cold suddenly. Don't know what's going on with him. Speaking of cold, my hands are cold. I think I want to pour myself another cup of coffee. But let me check my water. I think my water should be hot enough. Yes, it seems hot enough. Let's go ahead and pour that straight in, shall we? They were asking the head coach about Naylor getting called out. First pitch is inside to Suarez. Second pitch is also inside. It's 2-0. He basically confirmed what I was saying earlier. They never actually said it, but they insinuated it that it appeared that Naylor was trying to get in the way of the ball. And if you do that, then the other player is called out. So he's like, that's what they told me. So that's what it is. Here's the 2-1. Swing and a miss. Big cut by Suarez, but he doesn't touch it. 2-2. Fox says, I can't send messages. You know what, Fox? I think there's a problem with YouTube right now. I don't, because my live chat wasn't working. In my software, I could see the chat, but not on the YouTube screen. Swing and a miss. Suarez goes down with another K. That's an extra strikeout for Bieber. One down in this inning. That had a lot of drop on it. That's the way you're supposed to throw it. Suarez completely lost it. Crawford at the plate, 93 outside, ball one. Yeah, there's some the past few days there have been some problems with YouTube, Fox at that. I don't know if you know that or not, but the other day people couldn't even get videos to load. Everybody was having problems. I was having problems. There were a lot of problems. So I think that there have been some issues ongoing today because none of the messages that you guys were sending, like the past 6 messages or so, they were not showing up on my screen, but they were showing up in the software. So I had to refresh the screen just to see your messages. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Crawford. Here's a pitch. Fouls it back on the knuckle curve. Stays alive. 2-2. Fox says, of all the World Series options, I'm afraid it's the second worst, only behind the Yankees and the Dodgers. Well, regardless of who wins this game, I prefer them to win versus the Dodgers, but I really don't want the Mariners to go through because of the way their crowd was treating Springer. That was garbage. In the dirt, full count. Doug says, I don't think Bieber has his best stuff tonight. Yeah, I mean, he may not have his best stuff, but considering how that's hit out in the left field all the way to the wall, is it fair? That is fair. Going to be a double for Crawford. One out double. That brings up Leo Rivas. I was going to say, though, and I can still say what I was going to say. That barely got in there. Here we are in the 4th inning. It could have been a lot worse, As long as he can calm down and keep it steady for the next couple innings, I think it's okay. But we'll see. At least he's not being lit up, 1-0 to Rivas. Crawford on second base, 1 out. Here's the toss. 83 right in there with the knuckle curve, 1-1. You blame the AWS outage? Had multiple people in the chat complaining the other day about YouTube. Swing and a miss, nice changeup, 89, bottom of the zone. Now some of his off-speed pitches, breaking balls have been looking really good. Like that changeup there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Here comes a 1-2 pitch to Rivas. Bieber gets a strikeout again on another nice breaking pitch. That was a slider. Swing and a miss. Beautiful at bat there for Bieber. Wow. Nice spin. Two outs. Victor Robles at the plate. He grounded out in the second inning. Swings after that first pitch. A slider low and outside. Strike one. Yes, that's right, Fox. I agree. Any combination of World Series teams without the Astros is bad. I agree. 85 outside. 1-1. Crawford on second base. Most likely will be forgotten about by the Mariners. Here comes the pitch. Low and outside, a little bit in the dirt. All right. Hot water poured. Second cup of coffee, weak version 2.0 in the making. He throws the second base, but Crawford is back easily. 2 balls and 1 strike is the count to Victor Robles. We are now over 100 viewers. I appreciate that. Ooh, 87 just below the zone. Called ball 3. Bieber really wanted that, but it was a little low. Coach is not happy about it, but it was clearly below the zone. Here comes a 3-1 pitch. Above the zone. Can you believe it? And I think that's going to be it for Bieber. Bieber has been jawing at the umpire. He's staring at him right now. He's staring at the umpire. He has been saying so much to the umpire, they're talking about he might get tossed. Yep, Lewis Varland is coming in the game. That's going to be it for Shane Bieber here in the 4th inning. We'll be back in just a moment after a break. Yeah, the commentators are saying that Bieber is very actively and openly complaining about the umpire's calls and threatening to get kicked out of the game. The coach heads out after that walk, a 2-out walk with a runner on second and the top of the batting order coming up. And they were saying that he still might get kicked out, even though he's being taken out of the game. He still might be kicked out of the game because he's jawing at the umpire for not getting those calls. But the fact of the matter is, I looked at those calls, and I'm on the umpire's side. I mean, if he calls them strikes and the Mariners go down, you know, every Blue Jays fan is happy. But you know what? I'm one of those guys that I want it to be fair, you know? I don't want to beat somebody because of a bad call. Just like I don't want to be beaten because of a bad call. I want to be beaten fair and square. It's kind of like those old samurai movies where two guys are fighting. One guy loses his sword, but the other guy won't kill him. He makes him pick up his sword, or he'll give his sword back to him, so they'll keep fighting. Because he wants to kill him in the middle of fighting. He wants to defeat him during the fight. Whether or not you agree with that doesn't matter. What matters is that it just shows a high degree of sportsmanship, you know? So here we go with Lewis Varland. Luis Varland. 2 runners on, 2 outs. Leadoff batter at the plate. This is the guy, J-Rod, with a double and a homer this game. He has scored all of the runs. He's got 1 RBI, 1 run scored. Or I'm sorry, 2 runs scored. Low and outside, 1-1. That's right, Sydney. That's right. Sydney, if you were the coach, that's probably exactly what you would say when you go out to take Bieber off the mound. Listen, son, the umpire didn't allow 10 hits. That should be out number 3. Bounce to third. J-Rod goes down on a grounder. So Varland does his job in just 3 pitches. A strike, a ball, and a ground out. 7 hits for the Mariners, but nothing doing in the 4th after getting 2 runners on. They pick up a couple more lobsters. But speaking of lobsters, it's the bottom of the 4th. The Blue Jays have their boats out in the harbor. The engines are fired up. They've got their crew on deck, and they are heading out into the waters of the ocean to pull up their traps and see what lobsters they can catch and how many of those they might be able to bring home. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I think that'd be hilarious, Sydney. You go out and you pull out Bieber. Listen, boy, it wasn't the umpire that allowed 7 hits. Don't be mad. Don't be mad at the umpire. It's all on you. Doug says after walking the 9th hitter and losing his composure, they got to take him out. Yeah, he gave up a hit to the 8th hitter, and then he walked the 9th hitter, and the guy that was coming to the plate had a double and a home run off of him. I mean, it seems early to pull him out, but considering how he is getting louder and louder and angrier and angrier, there are a couple of problems there. Number one is he's threatening to get himself kicked out of the game, and that's no good. But the other thing is he's making it. How can you, when you're doing that, how can you perform better and gain the trust of your teammates when your infield and your coach, your entire team is watching you? Everybody on your team is depending on you right now. They're looking at you, and you keep getting angry and freaking out about pitches that aren't even in the zone. Do you think that their confidence in your ability to continue to pitch well is going to be high? I don't think so. You know, I'm mostly a second baseman, and if I'm on second base and my pitcher keeps yelling at the umpire, I can clearly see from second base if that's a strike or not. And when he's throwing pitches below the knees and yelling at the umpire, I'm gonna be like, dude, chill. I would seriously walk over to the mound and say, hey man, you realize that you're getting really upset about some pitches that at best, are close to the zone. You need to calm down, bro. Let it go. Just let it go and do your best. You know, just throw them stuff that they can't hit. Here comes a pitch from Kirby to Varsho. That's in there for a strike. 0-1. Next pitch. Ooh, just a little inside, ball 1. Here comes a 1-1. Ooh, 96. Swing and a miss. Right at the top of the zone. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Dalton Varsho. He's 1 for 1 today. He has himself a single and an RBI. The only RBI so far for the Blue Jays. When are they going to start lighting it up? Maybe right here. 98 above the zone, 2-2. Here comes the next pitch, the 2-2. Fouls it off down the first base side. Staying alive. Here comes the 2-2. 97, that's what I'm talking about. 97 in the upper inner part of the zone, but hittable, and he couldn't get the bat on it. Completely missed it and struck out. They foul off some of the trashiest pitches, and then throw in the zone. It didn't even come close. Explain it to me, please. 1 down. Ernie Clement at the plate. That's in the dirt and goes to the backstop. Nice hearty boom as it hits the wall. 0 for 1 with a line out in the first inning. That's right, Rusty. Staying alive. Second pitch outside, 2-0. 97 mile per hour fastball, nowhere near the zone. Be kind of cool if the control of Kirby starts to get out of his control. That one's in there, 97 miles an hour, 2-1. Blue Jays fans on their feet. Not making much noise right now, but they are standing anxiously. Here's the pitch. Outside, good call. 98, he's trying to get that edge. Paint the edge. Three balls and 1 strike. Crowd's on their feet. 97 above the zone, and he hits it up in the air. That's going to be a pop to second base. But Ivas puts it away. Out number 2. Might have could have let that one go. Could have been ball 4. Turns into out number 2. 3 2/3 innings pitched so far tonight. 3 hits. His last outing, he gave up 8. Tonight, he has 1 earned run. Last, he had 8. 98, top of the zone. Strike 1. Barger grounded out in the second inning. Here comes the 0-1 pitch from Kirby. 98 on the inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Here comes the 1-1. Oof. 89 mile per hour slider, low and inside. Swing and a miss. One ball, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. 2 low and inside on the fastball. 98 mile per hour ball. 2-2 is the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Blue Jays haven't been able to put a run on the board since the first inning. They don't even have a base runner right now. They've been really quiet the past couple of innings. Line drive up the middle. Barger is on with 2 outs. As soon as I mention the bats being quiet, he gets a single. But is it too little, too late for this inning? Still a nice hit, though. Kirby not happy about that. That's the 4th hit he's given up this game. That brings up Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. He lines it up the middle, but that's straight to Rivas, who steps on the bag. I don't know why he threw it over to first base. Didn't need a double. That's 3 up, or rather 4 up and 3 down. 1 single for the Blue Jays, and nothing doing otherwise. I just realized that the guy, the Seattle fan that wears the Dump Here shirts, he wears multiple shirts that have the number of homers. So he comes prepared to change shirts whenever Cal Raleigh hits a homer. It's pretty silly. It's dedication, though. It's dedication for sure. 2-1. We are finished with 4 innings of baseball. The game started off very interesting, a lot going on, but it has quieted down a little bit, especially on the offensive side for the Blue Jays. They started off matching the Mariners' energy, but have not been able to keep up since then. Let's do an official Marduk lobster count. The official, unofficial Marduk lobster count. Mariners 10. Blue Jays 7. There we go. Yes, that's right. That's the lobster count right there. For you good people.
The following message has not been brought to you by Red Lobster. Today's official, unofficial Marduk lobster count. The Seattle Mariners currently have 10 in the 4th inning. The Blue Jays have 7 in the 4th inning. Lobster counts for both teams are not favorable, showing a decent amount of players left on base and not moved around. Score is only 2-1, therefore the current lobster count for both teams is undesirable for both sides. And now back to the game.
Okay. We are back, top of the 5th. The little big dumper is at the plate, swing and a miss, 94 on the outside. Varland is still on the mound for the Blue Jays. Charlie asks if Shane Bieber is related to Justin. You never know. You never know. Here's the pitch. He is in Canada. This is hit high in the air to right field. All the way, it's going to be gone. That's a homer for Raleigh. In the bullpen in right field. Varland makes a boo-boo. 5 home runs in the postseason for Cal Raleigh. J-Rod is right out of the dugout with the pitchfork. And don't correct me and tell me it's a trident. I know it's a trident. I just like to call it a pitchfork. I think it's funny. It's sad that I have to say that every single time I mention the pitchfork. Farmers use pitchforks. It's just a joke. Varland not looking too happy about that. I wouldn't be either. 381 feet, 102 miles an hour. They are having some technical difficulties with the game. I don't know what in the world's going on, but as soon as they do a cut to Naylor flying out, yeah, low and inside, just a perfect pitch for him to pull. Bad pitch. But once again, you can't throw bad pitches to hitters like that. It's 3-1. One of the catchers, one of the Seattle Mariners catchers out in the bullpen caught that. Polanco's at the plate with 1 out. He fouls it off. Nobody on. Yeah, there's a problem with the MLB TV broadcast right now because the audio does not match the video, and the video is glitching and jumping around. A bunch of strange technical issues going on with various platforms today, YouTube and MLB TV. I don't quite get it. 1 ball, 1 strike to Polanco. Sydney says the Jays postseason had 4 games total, 43 runs, but 3 with 5 runs. Need the good team to show up fast. That's right. Grounder to the right side. Guerrero Jr. is going to take it himself for out number 2. Unassisted ground ball out. Varland now has 9 pitches, 7 in the zone. He's given up 1 big hit. That's the homer, the solo shot to Raleigh. But that's the thing, Sydney. The Mariners, to me, are the same. Here's the pitch. 92 miles an hour above the zone. They say he went around. Randy Arozarena at the plate. Strike 1. That's why I say that if the Mariners are hot or the Blue Jays are hot, then that determines the winner. Whoever's hot at the plate determines the winner. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. So either one of these teams can beat the Dodgers if they can have hot hitting 4 of those games. Brian Wu is warming up in the bullpen. I'm sure he's going to get a standing ovation by the crowd whenever he comes up. Arozarena fouls that off. The count remains 0-2 with 2 outs, nobody on. Marty wants to know if Red Lobster still has the live lobster selection tank up front. There's a fly ball to Falefa. He puts it out at second base for out number 3, but another solo homer. That's 2 solo homers in this game. I'll tell you what, though, the Blue Jays are lucky that no base runners were on for these homers, because otherwise they could be down by a substantial sum. But as it stands right now, it is 3-1 going into the bottom of the 5th. Now, the Blue Jays haven't done anything offensively in 3 innings. It's time for them to do something. Andre Jimenez is due up next, followed by George Springer and Nathan Lucas. How about Jimenez and Springer and Lucas at back-to-back-to-back homers? 102 viewers right now. Thanks for being here. Make sure you do like the live stream. I haven't checked the likes on my live stream yet. It looks like I've got 53, and that's baseline. Brian Wu is definitely coming in the game, so check it out. We're going to have a rematch between Brian Wu and George Springer. What do you want to bet the crowd greets Brian Wu warmly? I am quite sure that the crowd is going to be happy to see Brian Wu on the mound. But now here's my question. We can't see the moment that Brian Wu comes into the game because he's already warming up right now, so we don't get to see that, unfortunately. But my question is, whenever George Springer comes to the plate to face Brian Wu, what do you think the crowd will do? Will they have any special reactions? If Brian Wu throws that ball too close to Springer, you know that they're going to boo, right? But I wonder if they're going to have any reaction whenever Springer faces Wu. We'll see. We'll see. Marty, there was a Red Lobster in my hometown when I lived there, and they never had a tank. They never had a lobster selection tank, ever. So I've never seen one of those myself. And that was years ago. That was That was more than 15 years ago the last time I went in there. Maybe more than 20 years ago. Maximus says Naylor is nails. Well, he wasn't that play. He flew out. Naylor was fails. Josh Failer on that play. Charlie says, I think we're getting solar winds. Well, over here where I'm at, I'm getting the winter winds. It is this still 15 degrees outside? Yeah, it's still 15 C. (15°C to, it's 59 degrees. 59 degrees here where I'm at in Hiroshima. Wu is on the mound. Facing Jimenez. Low and inside, ball 1. All right, here we go. Bottom of the 5th. 1 ball, no strikes to Jimenez. Brian Wu back on the mound. Here's the pitch. Low and inside, ball 2. 96 miles an hour. Yeah, Marduk says that. So I guess the solar winds, I guess, Charlie, you're saying that they're messing with the tech. You know, it could be. You never know. Here's the pitch. Ooh, high and inside. Almost got him. 3-0. 3 straight balls. It's not messing with my Starlink yet, so that's good. And they're talking about upgrading the speed of Starlink soon, right? That's going to be awesome. I'm happy about that, but I should be in the city by then, so I'll be on fiber optic. So I can pause my subscription while I'm in the city. 96 in the bottom of the zone, strike 1. He just took that one all the way. 3 balls and 1 strike to Andre Jimenez. Jimenez 1 for 1 today. Here's the toss. Ooh, inside. He started to swing and he held up. Good job. Ball 4. Leadoff walk. And that brings up George Springer. How about a little revenge, Georgie? And the crowd is cheering loudly. Hit a dinger, Springer. A kid has a sign in the crowd that says, hit a dinger, Springer. That's right. Woo, he does hit that one really hard opposite field, but it goes foul. Come on, man. I want to see you take... This is a great opportunity. Come on now. You couldn't script this better up to this point. Wu comes in, hits him on the knee, puts him in a lot of pain. Springer comes back, plays the games anyway. Now he has a chance to tie it up with a big hit. Swing and a miss, low and outside. Come on. How great would this be for this game and for the playoffs for Springer to tie it up with 1 swing of the bat against Brian Wu, the guy who smacked him with a 97-mile-per-hour pitch off of his knee. Come on, do it. Ah! Strike 3. Springer defeats himself by swinging at a pitch so far outside the zone. I think he was about 8 inches away from the end of the bat. Yeah, you knew you shouldn't have swung at that. And that quieted the crowd a lot. They were really hoping for something at that at bat. But that's 1 down, 1 runner on. Nathan Lucas at the plate. Grounds it off. Down the first base side, strike 1. Springer, don't take another one. Can you imagine if he hit Springer again? I think that the whole of the dugout of the Blue Jays would come out. Yes, he was, Doug. He fell for it. 97 up, 1-1. Actually, Doug, Brian Wu said that line from Bloodsport before he fought the guy, before he fought Van Damme. He says, "Now I show you some trick or two." And then he throws it outside. Here comes a 1-1 pitch. Ground ball. It might be an unassisted double play. Here's a throw by Crawford, and they call him out at first. Can you believe that Crawford actually made the throw? Can you believe it? Crawford with the unassisted double play. Wow. Naylor had to stretch for it. But you know, every dog has his day, I guess. Every dog has its day. Yes, it does. I just changed the lyrics to Every Rose Has Its Thorn. That'd be kind of a funny song to rewrite, wouldn't it? Isn't that Poison? Is that the hair metal band from the 80s? Every Rose Has Its Thorn. We could change it to Every Dog Has Its Day. Every dog has its day. Yeah, it does. Just like every horse has his hay. I'm sorry. I just, maybe I took it too high. I took it a little too high. Bring it back a little. Let's bring it back. That's the end of the fifth. 3-1. The Mariners over the Blue Jays. It looks like we have another pitching change incoming. Sir Anthony Dominguez coming in to face Eugenio Suarez, who's leading it off for the Mariners. J.P. Crawford on deck and Leo Rivas in the hole. 8 hits for the Mariners, 4 for the Blue Jays. The Mariners and the Blue Jays are almost tied in lobsters lost. Mariners with 10, Blue Jays with 9. We're holding steady right now at about 106 viewers. That's not too bad for the middle of the game. Not too bad at all. I suddenly feel that I can't get very comfortable in this chair, and that's not good considering how I've got... Ooh, I got the football game coming up. When does that start? Ooh, 11 o'clock. Holy cow. The Texans and Seahawks start in just a little bit. They are scheduled to have a kickoff at 11 o'clock. That's in about 6 minutes. Wow. Okay, this is where we hit the decision time. Dominguez on the mound, facing Suarez. High and inside. This is the pitcher that gave up the grand slam to Suarez. 1 ball, no strikes. Here comes a pitch. That's hit out into left field, but not very deep. Lucas comes in and puts it away for out number 1. J.P. Crawford at the plate with 1 out, nobody on. Lines it to second base. Falefa knocks it down and throws him out at first. What a good play. Line drive shot on the short hop. Falefa is able to block it, pick it up, and throw Crawford out on the very first pitch. Look at this play. Nice D. 2 down. Willie Nelson gonna perform in an alternate Super Bowl halftime show this year, by the way. I think he's got to be like 90 years old. Yeah, I'm surprised that Willie's still around. Here's the first pitch to Rivas, and that's in there for a strike. All right, so I got the Monday Night Football game coming up in less than 5 minutes. I'm hoping that Dominguez can get the out right here. Here's the pitch, low and inside, ball 1. 1-1 is the count. Comes a 1-1 pitch. Up and in. Did he go? They say he did not. 2-1 is the count. Here comes the 2-1 pitch. He hits this one high in the air. Should be playable on the third base side, and it is. Clement puts it away for out number 3. So in just about 7 pitches, Dominguez gets out of the inning. 3 up and 3 down. Nice, clean inning for the Blue Jays. Nothing for the Mariners in the 6th. The Blue Jays coming up in the bottom of the 6th in just a moment. But here's the thing. The Seahawks-Texans game is coming up in about 40 seconds. It's starting to stream in about 40 seconds or so. But the kickoff time is in just 3 minutes. But I'm going to be true to my fan base. My Houston fans come number 1, so even though the majority that are here are wanting me to finish covering this game, what I'm going to have to do is, and I'm letting you know right now, just so you're aware, let me show you. I'm going to drop the link in the chat, okay? Just so you know. Here we go. Let me put this link in the chat just so you're aware, okay? There we go. So as it says in the chat, take a look at it. I'll be covering the Texans-Seahawks Monday Night Football game because it's starting in about 1 minute. I'm going to be switching over to that live stream. I do hope you can join me there, but here's the link. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to be switching back over to check on this game with the Mariners and the Blue Jays during the breaks. But because my primary audience is Houston sports, I must put that first. I committed to doing that, and that's what I'm going to do. However, there are a lot of commercials and breaks in the Seahawks-Texans game, and so I will be coming back over to keep checking in on this game right here. Brian Wu is up next facing Vladimir Guerrero Jr., but we're going to go ahead and switch over. So right here, I'm going to end it. And I'm sorry that there's an overlap. I don't make the schedule. But thank you all for joining. Thank you for the likes. I'm going to go ahead and jump over to the Texans game right now. As you can see, let's see here. Well, they're still showing commercials right now. But that game will be up in just a moment. So I hope you can join me for that. I've got to jump over and do that live stream. See you there. And one more pitch right there, just for you. Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, and Taylor, I know that you're interested in following the game, and I am about to jump over to the Texans game, and I know that you're probably not interested in the Texans game, but trust me, I've done multitasking before, so I am going to keep coming back over from that game to this one just to check in and see how things are going. So I do hope you can join me over there, and I will do my best to keep covering both. But for now, I'm going to end it right here, and I hope to see you over on that other link that I just posted in the chat, and we'll do our best to cover both, okay? But that's it for now. I'll leave you with maybe one more pitch from Wu to Guerrero outside. There we go. Okay, that's it. See you in a moment.